Hello, my name is Andy Nguyen, and I will be doing a quick overview of the front-end section of the BeerTracker website. So to begin, what was our website designed in? Our website was designed using Balsamiq Mockups 3, a low-fidelity wireframing tool that I used at my first internship and have continued to use in almost all of my software projects since. Balsamiq is used by so many different companies, but a few example big names are Dropbox, LinkedIn, eBay, and Tesla. We use Balsamiq because it allows for rapid development of the idea of what a website or app should look like and the early interactions. So it's great for prototyping. And we built the website using purely HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. First is the home page. On the left is the original mockup, and the right is what the website looks like now. This page was kept pretty similar, with the only real difference being that we added a link so that users don't have to actively search for a beer to go see the list of beers that we have in the database. Next, we have the login and sign up. So here it was originally planned to be two separate pages. I wasn't happy with uh, how this was designed in the end, and I decided to go with a much more modern look for the design of the login and sign up. Here is what the login looks like now. Login and sign up have been integrated into one page using the center container. When planning to sign in, users can use the left side, but if they need to sign up, they can click the sign up button. And with a smooth transition, the create account side will be shown to the user. And once signed in, users are brought to their user dashboard. Here, we display users' account information and their reviews. We originally had a beer submission feature, but we were unable to integrate this, so it was pulled and instead was replaced by the following section, where users can see the people that they are following and go to their profiles. Also, we have a list of the beers that the users have favorited on the right. Next, we have the beer list/search page. Here, users can search for beers in the database and it'll display some info on the beer, like the type of beer it is, the ABV, the malt, and the hops. Also on the right is a list of recommended beers from the development team, and clicking any of the names of the beers will bring you to the beer's specific beer page. So here is what the beer page was originally, and here's the beer page now. So again, on this page, it will display the name and some info on the beer, but there will also be a few notes about its taste and the favorite unfavorite button, which will allow the user to click and then they'll be the beer will be either be added or removed from their profile. There's also a comment section where users can obviously leave comments on the beer and see comments left by other users. On the right, a user can review a beer, giving it a rating and writing in the text area provided. And at the bottom right is a list of similar beers so that users can find other beers they may want to try or avoid. And that is it. I will now be turning this over to my other team members.
Okay, so now that Andy has gone over the front end design process of BeerTracker, I'm going to go ahead and do a walkthrough of all the features and explain their implementation. So first, when you open BeerTracker, this is the root page, which includes a search bar, a navigation bar where you can go to the beers and you can sign up or log in. So I'm going to go look at the list of beers that we have on BeerTracker. So here we'll see all the beers that are in our database in a nice scrollable list. Our database is a MongoDB NoSQL database. We use MongoDB because that's what we've been using in CS546. It's what we're most familiar with. And it's also forgiving since it's a NoSQL database and it's pretty simple to rapid prototype and develop. So pulling up the MongoDB compass before we get any further, I'm just going to go through the three documents that we have stored in here. We have the beer document, which includes an ID, its name, its type, It's ABV, alcohol content by volume. It's malts as an array. It's hops as an array. It's flavor notes as a string. And then there's a sub document here, comments, which is the comments on the beer. So each one of those sub documents contains its own ID, a timestamp for when it was submitted, the ID of the user that submitted it, and the content of the comment. And finally, we have a third array with the reviews, the IDs of the reviews of the beer. And that is a good segue into the reviews document, which contains the ID of the user that submitted the review, the ID of the beer that the review is about, its rating on a scale of 0 to 5, and the comment, which is the text content of the review. And finally, our third document is the users document, which contains the user's email, the user's hashed password, their first and last name, their city, their state, and their country. It also contains 3 arrays: their favorite beers, which is an array of the IDs of their favorite beers; following, which is an array of the IDs of the users that they are following; and reviews, which is an array of the reviews IDs that the user has submitted. So I'll put that aside and I'll go back into the walkthrough. So now that we're on this beer page, we can use the search bar if we'd like to search for a specific beer. For example, we'll search for Sour Monkey, and we'll see that that's our only result. So what we can do is click on the name of any of these beers, and it'll bring us to a page of the beer. So what's going on here is we have the title of the beer at the top, the type, malt, hops, ABV, notes, and average rating. All of this data is pulled from the MongoDB database with our database modules, and then it's passed through the route through handlebars in order to render the template with all the correct data. So we used handlebars because, as well as Express, because that is also what we've been using throughout CS 546, and it's what we're most familiar with. So you'll see the average rating, which is the average of all the ratings of the reviews that are for this particular beer. At the bottom, you'll see the comments, and each comment shows the user who made the comment itself, and the timestamp for when the comment was created. And over to the right, you'll see similar beers. Now, these are beers that are similar in traits with the current beer. So each beer in the database is given a score. With this beer, as the page is rendered in the route. So if it has the same type, it increases the score. If it has matching hops or malts, it increases the score. So we can click on these as well and explore them and see the comments and whatnot. Now, if we'd like to go and explore a user from the comments, we can go ahead and click on them, which will bring us to the users page. And here we can see all of the users' reviews that they have submitted. And you can see who they're following, as well as their favorite beers. You can also see their name at the top here and where they're from. So if you want to go, you can follow any of these links to any of the other pages of different users, different beers, back to the users. Now, that about covers everything you can do when you're not logged into BeerTracker. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and we'll go over the features you get once you're signed in. So it takes a minute for bcrypt to hash the password and compare it to the current password. We use bcrypt because it's what we've been using throughout the course, and it's what we're most familiar with, and it seems to do the job very well. So this is the dashboard. You'll notice first that it's very similar to the user page because it's actually the same template since it's the same exact information. Now, you don't edit anything here, but however, once you go to the beers, you'll notice that you now have this recommended beers. And in this recommended beers, it's very similar to the similar beers. However, it not only compares one single beer to the rest of the beers, it compares a combination of your top reviewed beers with all of the beers and creates a combination score of that, and then gives you the top 8 beers in our database that best match that of beers that you have not yet reviewed. So you will not get beers that you have already reviewed in this recommended beers sidebar. So you can go ahead and click on these and explore them. And now you'll notice that since we're logged in, we have the option to submit a comment and we have the option to review the beer. We also have the option to favorite and then unfavorite the beer. So first off, if we want to add it to our favorites, we can click favorite and I'll go to my dashboard and I'll see that this is now added and I'll go back and unfavorite it, go back to the dashboard and it's now no longer there. So if I'd like to add a comment, all I have to do is fill out the form. I can add a comment on this. I'll say tastes funny and I'll click submit. And now you'll see, since I'm logged in as Brett Weiss, you'll see that my name appears above the comment that I just submitted. And if I try to submit an empty comment, it'll tell me that I need to fill out this field. These are done using post routes, both the favorite and the comment form, as well as the review form. They're done via post routes to these URLs in order to change the data in the database so that when it's rendered on the other pages, you can see that change. So if we want to review the beer, it works the same way. If we try to submit it, it won't work because we need to fill out both fields. But we'll do a quick review. I said it tastes funny, so we'll give it a 2.5, and I'll just say not for me, just for the sake of time. And once I submit that, it'll bring us to our dashboard where we can scroll down and we can see this new review that we just made for Voodoo Ranger. So other things we can edit is who we're following and unfollowing. So I'll go to this Steve Wilkos guy and you can see that I'm following him, but because you can click unfollow, which will unfollow. I can go to someone I'm not following and you can see follow. So I'll click follow and now I have the option to unfollow. I'll go to my dashboard. Jane Doe is here because she's now being followed, and I can unfollow her and go back and she will no longer be there. This is a very similar process in favorite beers. If I would like to unfavorite a beer, I can click unfavorite on the beer's page, go back to the dashboard, it's no longer there. Same thing with favoriting. So I'll go to a beer that I don't have favorited, click favorite, go back, and now it's right there, classic. So that about covers all of the features that you get once you're logged in. And so I'll go ahead and log out just to show you that I am now logged out, and I go to the beers and I no longer have this recommended beers. I go to a beers page. I can no longer comment. I can no longer submit a review because I'm not logged in as anyone, so I can't submit it as anybody. So that covers all of the features, logged in and not logged in to BeerTracker. So that brings me back to the sign in page. Here, if you don't have an account, you can click sign up and this animation will happen and you can see a form where you can fill out to create an account. So you'll fill out this form and click sign up and then you'll now have an account as long as you fill out this form correctly. If not, errors will pop up. I'm going to hand it over to Kai, who's going to explain how this works in the back end and the routes that handle this and the security involved.
The models is used in this route is the express, encrypt, and XSS. For the user, go to the default path. It will check the status of the user. If the user is already logged in, it will redirect to the dashboard. If not, it will render the login page. When the user tries to log in, it will get the input email address, password, both with the XSS form. That is protect the system from the XS attack. After that, it will check the database with the email address the user input. If they got the email address, it will check the password. You get the hashed password from database. And here we use the decrypt compare with the password and the hashed password stored in the data page. If they match, it will store all the user's information to the session and then redirect to the dashboard. Else, it will push the arrow. Notice here, the arrow is same as here. This one is for the password is wrong, and here is for the email address is wrong, but they have the same error message. It's because you don't want to let the user know which part they input is wrong. That's for the security reasons, and then return the errors. For the sign up page, it's very similar as the login. We will get all the inputs with the access form. And because you don't want the users register a account, use the different cases with the same email address. So transfer the email address to the lower case. Here is to check the database, the email address is registered or not. If you find the email is already in the database, it will push the arrow. Else, it will transfer the password to the hash password with the set runs 12 and just add the information to the database. If the process is success, it will redirect to the hashboard. Else, it will push the errors here and then return the errors. For the logout, it's very simple to destroy the sessions and redirect to the home page.
So now that Kai has explained how the login, logout system works, and as well as the sign up, I just wanted to show the logging middleware that we have here. You can see at the bottom we have this terminal in it, and it logs all of the requests made to the server, the type, get, post, and the URL, and whether or not they're authenticated. So that about covers everything with BeerTracker. Thanks for watching.